himself as Brad Miller. He says he's with a company called Anheuser-Busch. And he's been authorized by that company to give the Catholic Church $250 million. Well, the Pope looks at him and says, well, that's a very generous offer. Typically, when people want that, they want something in return. And the guy says, well, as a matter of fact, you know that prayer, the Our Father? The Pope says, yeah, I know it. And he says, well, you know where it says, give us this day our daily bread? And he said, well, yeah. And he says, well, we just need you to change one word. Give us this day our daily bud. And the Pope says, I can't do that. And he says, 400 million. He says, I couldn't possibly. He says, 500 million, last offer, I'll be back Monday. Well, he leaves. Well, that Sunday, the Pope gets all the cardinals together at the Vatican, and he says, guys, I've got good news and I've got bad news. And one of the cardinals says, well, what's the good news? He says, there's a company that wants to give us $500 million. He said, what's the bad news? He says, I think we're going to lose the Wonder Bread account. So, Brother Fitz, the Jesuits would have laughed at that. I just want you to know that, okay? I'm not a terribly religious guy. As a matter of fact, there's a group of guys at that back table there that are probably surprised that I didn't spontaneously combust as I walked onto the campus. But the reality is that after going through this, I can tell you that I absolutely believe in life in the hereafter. It is completely, utterly inconceivable that I'm never going to talk to my dad again. It is beyond my comprehension to think that I'll never see him again. It is beyond any reason to believe that my mom and my dad won't spend eternity together. And with the caveat that we end up in the same place, I feel that same way about my wife. I'd like to think that there's a reason behind all this. And it was funny when it happened, Steve called me, and he asked how I was doing. And I told him, I said, Steve, I had 62 years with this guy as my dad. I worked with him every day for 15 years. And I was blessed that I had he and my mom down in Florida with us, Terry and Chris, for another 15 years. And I said, if there's any solace, it's knowing that there was nothing left unsaid. Well, that was naive. Because I can tell you, after a few months, that was completely false. You can never tell an individual how much you love them. You can never tell anybody how much they've meant to you and how much they've done for you, how much you've impacted other people's lives. And that is a lesson that every one of us should learn. Michael Mitzen, good family friend, wrote me a note right after it happened, and I think he put it best. He said, your dad will certainly be missed, but more importantly, he'll be remembered. And that is the truth. We can't thank everybody enough for being here. We love the concept that we were able to share this with you. My dad, when we talked about this, he asked us to bring everybody together, not to honor him, but rather to have you all together to tell you how much he cared about you. Thank you very much for all being here. We love you all. Get home safe, okay? Thanks a lot.